Good evening. Uh, Thank you for joining me again for another night of writing. Uh, this is my weekly Monday stream. If you are new here joining today, thank you for joining me on my Twitch stream. If you're following me on YouTube, thank you for watching me there. This is my weekly stream where I write, really. I've been working on a series of books, and the series is called the Tales of Spyra. The first book was the Ring, the Crown, the Spear of the Gods. So that book has been written, and the next three books in the series are all a prequel trilogy to that first book. So the second book has actually already been written. I actually wrote that live on stream, did the editing for that, and that was actually up on the YouTube channel, so you can actually watch the vlog of that process. This is the third book in the series, the second book in the sequel trilogy, and this is the Exile one. So I will be doing this stream every Monday evening, roughly between 5 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is an opportunity for anyone who's interested in just kind of watching a random guy go through his process of writing and being creative, to get a chance to watch, see what's going on, and hopefully be encouraged to go through your own creative process and do whatever it is that you feel creatively inspired to do. Also, as we're going through this, as I'm doing the writing, and I'm going through the story, if you have questions about the lore, about some of the story itself, then feel free to ask in chat, and I don't mind stopping to have a quick conversation about that. I will also currently link in chat the site where the music is playing that you'll be hearing in the background, and I'll also have that up in the description for the VOD on the YouTube channel. Having said that, thank you for joining me. I hope that watching me go through this process inspires you, encourages you, or at least entertains you. Having said that, I'm going to go ahead and get some words on the page. funky. I didn't like it. Use the correct word here. hoping you'll have some time to take a bit of a breather soon. But it's good to see you jump on the stream. I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. I don't like that word here. Here's to hope in the future, over the next few days, weeks, months, gets progressively easier, progressively better for you. Maybe for all of us. Work has been really interesting for me as well. My body's trying to get used to this. I'm not as young as I used to be. Pushing boxes, hauling crates, a lot of the physical labor. When you're 25 is one thing. When you're in your late 40s, your body can still do it, but you feel it. And your body's not always happy about it after the fact. That's what it feels like, getting paid to go to the gym. But the gym doesn't punish you for realizing, hey, I may push too hard, I may need to take an extra day to go ahead and rest or recuperate. A job says, oh, that's fine. You can take that time. We just won't be paying you for it. And your bills and your mortgage and the other things that have already been piling up, they start to remind you that, hey, you need this money. But then again, like I always say, dead men can't pay bills. So it's that balancing act. Pushing, going in, doing the work, earning the money, but knowing when, hey, I may be pushing it a bit too hard and have to be realistic about, okay, how much of this can I do? I promise you, it's not even so much the work, it's those composite shoes we have to wear. They are wreaking havoc on my ankles and my legs, and you know what affects the base affects everything all the way up. So, but no, I'll adapt. I'll be fine. the network, obviously. There's another L in that word. There should be an E in that word. still don't like that word there. Let's have water. Okay, so here's where I'm going. I've been going through the story, kind of building up, trying to get some points into you're pointing out Jamar and his friends and the idea that, okay, we're here at school, we practice magic, we're established that, but we're looking at specific types of magic because they're going to be in some way related to using components from dragons to be able to affect the spell and the ability that ultimately creates the exiled one. It allows for the penultimate, event to happen that we're trying to get to. But also there's this conflict and eventual schism in the school and amongst wizards in regards to this. And part of it is spurred on by the fact that we know the headmaster, if you've known from the first book and the second book, then you know the headmaster of the school is actually a dragon. He's a dragon. Leaves every every decade or so. He's gone for a while, feigns his own death, comes back at some point to find whoever the current headmaster is, gets them secluded, kills them, takes their shape, and resumes being the headmaster for however long before it's time to lather, rinse, repeat. But he remains there as the headmaster. He remains there kind of. That's his little spot. He's taken that as his place and his way to maintain some level of control of the world, but also it's a safe place for him. And he's just gotten used to doing this, and it amuses him, so he stays there. But also, him being a dragon doesn't want people looking too deeply into dragons and into the use of dragons and remains to heighten their own power. So he's the catalyst for everything kind of stopping any further research into dragons there, because it's self-interest. And Mihal already suspects this, so that's where he comes into play here. So I know where this story, ultimately, I already know how the story ends. I know how the story ends. I know where the ultimate, the end point is for this particular story. And so everything for this is really just trying to go through the story, get us to that point, to explain the how and the why it all comes to be and comes to play. And so trying to lay a lot of the groundwork, but at the same time trying not to have all of this groundwork drag on too long. It's that weird position of wanting to get to the point, wanting to go ahead and get to it, but at the same time not be so consumed with rushing to it that I don't do the work of actually putting decent groundwork in. And so it's that push and pull within my mind of trying to not let the thing drag on, but at the same time not rush to the point where I didn't bother to actually develop the background of what they're doing, who's involved, why who's involved, why there's any conflict at all. All these things are going to matter. And so pulling all this together and pulling it all together, make it all cohesive and actually get us to the point where we want to be. Like I said, I know how this specific book ends. What the end point is, at bare minimum, for at least three of the characters in this book, I know where they are when this story is over. I know where they already are, and so it's just a matter of getting there and seeing what else happens in the process. And so that's kind of where I am right now. I knew where it would be. It's just a matter of getting there. But I also don't want to get too caught up in the weeds of trying to over-explain some of the mechanics of how the magic works. I want to explain just enough, so that it gives some understanding, some justification for, okay, so this is why this particular form of magic and this particular form of magic and these two together, and then you add in any components from dragons, and they're able to stumble upon something that allows the main thing to happen. And so that's what healing and transmutation, those are going to be the crux of, really what it comes down to. Those things combining and having the dragon soul, we've established that these are the paths that they've been looking into, and we got that established. We've established that the headmaster is a dragon. We've established that Mihal senses something. And so I think the next thing is, we know that Jamar, he starts to gather a bit of a following. People start to follow him. And they start to see, okay, because he's charismatic, but also because he's saying things a lot of them think, like, hey, we're here to study magic. Why can't we use the magic and study and do more with it? And so that's going to be a part of a conflict that comes along later. Jamar himself doesn't lead conflict. He's not about conflict. In fact, a lot of those who are following him, they're going to get wrapped up in a conflict. And it's kind of like he's not even in the conflict. He's just decided to do his thing. Other people have followed behind, and they're in conflict with people who are trying to stop them and say, hey, no, you can't do this. And so there's all this conflict following like a roller coaster behind him. He's just off doing his thing, and all this other stuff is following around him, and so he's a catalyst, and yet at the same time not really a part of the conflict, but the conflict is happening in his wake. And so he's this leader, but he doesn't see himself as lead. He's not trying to lead a people, lead a movement. He's just doing a thing, and he's just passionate about the thing, and it's the fact that he's passionate about what he's doing that is drawing other people. And he is not completely oblivious, but he's not concerned with trying to lead and guide and direct and pull people along. He's just doing his thing. And so it's that. And so that's where we are. That's the intention. That's what we're trying to do with this. And so if you know anything about the previous books, you know Mihal, he's taken on some of the power of some of the dragons into himself. And so he's very aware that not only are dragons still around, not only are they intelligent, but that he has some of their power in him, and can sense the headmaster is either has some dragon in him or is himself a dragon. He can sense it. He knows that. And what he's going to test now, the theory, he's beginning to think that, hey, that's probably why no one really studies as much into dragons as you would expect at a magic college. So he's going to test that theory, and part of it is also, while testing the theory, giving Jamar a nudge, because he wants to see if he provides Jamar a little bit of inspiration. Say, hey, listen, let me show you something. Yeah, let me shine a light on the fact that you actually are right. There is more to this, and then see what Jamar does with that, and see where this goes. He's curious, and he plays the long game. He's you could be centuries old, and time doesn't move for you the same way this does. Yeah, you're able to play long games. You're able to go ahead and take a few chances and try a few things out, and move a couple pieces around the chessboard, because you have time to sit back and watch and see how the things play out. And he has enough power to be able to deal with some of the repercussions or help to guide things in a particular direction. And so we'll see him take a more active role in this part. At least as far as nudging this and moving here and influence here, and then taking a step back and just kind of watch and see how things play out. So that's his role here. So I know how this plays through. I know how the parts fit. It's getting them all to flow correctly and getting the pacing right. And then there is I'm really excited because I know where the story ends, and I really want to get there. But I want to make sure that I get there in a way that, as far as the story, it makes sense. Everything flows. Everything makes sense. So this is me just putting my thought out there and getting it out there, just partially for me to be able to reflect back on and just keep myself centered as far as, okay, what is it I'm trying to do here? But also for the sake of anyone watching and seeing, the process, not just seeing me writing and putting words on the page, but also getting the thought behind, okay, so why are we doing this way? Why is the story taking shape in this way? And getting to see what it's like to see a writer who's writing, who already knows the end, and then saying, okay, now I'm working to that end. The last book, the second book I did, I knew the end of that book before I started. I already knew where that ended. And in fact, had written a portion of that ending was actually written as part of the original lore when I started the whole series, and in fact is part of the first book. It is mentioned and described a little bit in the first book. In fact, the ultimate ending of this book, some of the lore of that is actually written in the first book. And so now we say, okay, we've got this lore, we got this characters, we got the story. Well, wait, how did that happen? How did they get there? Well, now we tell that story. And so here's, you can see a writer who knows the ending. Now he has to write the whole story, pull the whole story. And so this is where we are. And I'm excited to go through this. I'm very happy with where we've gotten so far and how much we've gotten so far. I am happy with what we've gotten so far and where I am in the story so far. But I'm also very nervous because that we've gotten so far is by grace, because I don't know. Like each night when I sit down to start writing, I don't know what words are about to hit the page to start that night, let alone where it's going to end the night. Like, I don't know what the next words I'm going to write are. It's just start. Thus, the phrase "putting words on the page." That's where it comes from. Is in my mind, it's the idea of, what I could stress about it, or I could just go and start putting words on the page and clean it up as I go, and maybe as I go, the story will unfold for me. So I'm really reading the story for the first time as the story is hitting the page, and so as you're seeing me write it, you're seeing it for the first time. I'm seeing it for the first time, and so it's exciting. At the same time, it's also kind of nervous because that means I'm writing it. And as I'm writing it, still have to understand, okay, I need to go back. Sometimes the wording is right. Sometimes, like, I don't like that word right here, the connotation of that word right here. Sometimes everybody's like, oh, that's good. You know what, that doesn't fit here. That actually should go up. And you start moving things around, and it gets to be this thing. So I know here where we are. Y'all has to, essentially, to break it down, he's going to basically show Jamar, yeah, by the way, I got some dragon in me. Dragons do other stuff, and their power does affect other things. It can be used for other things. Here, let me show you. But it's how we show that, how I bring that to him. And even before then, he's been here before. They've seen his face. They've seen this guy here, but they don't have, like Jamar, his friends, the people there, no one has any reason to really pay heed to him, to acknowledge him as more than just some random guy who happens to be visiting the college. Lots of people visit the college. And so he'll have to have an excuse to speak to him, and it's going to essentially echo his first meeting with the dragon that encouraged, inspired, and eventually hired him. So in the last book, so it'll be a similar meeting, and that was intentional. I expected that, but how we do it, how I do it, that's where I'm stuck. That's where I'm stuck. And not just that, I can have him just say, catch him in a moment alone, pull him aside, say, hey, I wanted to show you something, this is who I am, and blah, blah, and just drop it in the exposition dump, for lack of a better way to say it. But along with that, Jamar has to then, when he provided this evidence of proof, speak to his friends about it, and then that's going to push them to go further into what they were researching previously. How does the headmaster respond to that? The headmaster is currently not physically there, but he's the headmaster, and he'll be returning, and when he does, and more what's happening with students, when Jamar begins to do more, he's going to sense it, he's going to notice, he's going to be paying attention. How is he going to respond to that? And for a creature that has existed as long as this dragon has existed, has been essentially running this con, this thing, this where this shadow control he's had over the school for as long as he has, an entire school of mages and wizards and people who know and sense and use magic. And he's been there in their midst. It's like Palpatine. Yeah, he's been there sitting there among all these Jedi all this time. You got to be pretty much a beast as far as using the Force to sit amongst all the entire Jedi Council, be right there just hanging out with these folks, and they don't even realize it's you. So it's the same with the dragon. It's a dragon hiding himself amongst wizards while being their head, and actually subtly influencing them to not look too deeply further into dragons. When the name of your school is the Dragon Head Keep and you have the skull of a dragon on your roof, you gotta be powerful, but also you gotta be subtle. So his reaction to this has to be something that's subtle but impactful in a way that it spurs the older wizards and some of the students there, even some of the older students there at the college, to want to step in and take action against Jamar and any of the other students who are, reaching too deeply, looking too deeply into the dragons. Not necessarily provoking actual physical attacks, but the verbal and the vocal opposition. So that's where these things start. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm experiencing a few stream issues. Looks like we're right on time to bring this to a pause for the night. Okay. So I'm going to stop here for the night. There's been some funky things happening with the stream on my end, but I feel good about where we are and have put myself in a decent position. I know what I should be doing starting in the next stream. So with that said, for everybody who joined me tonight, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'll be back at it again between 5 and 8 sometime next Monday. And every Monday, as long as I can, to get this written. We're going to finish this book up. I feel good about it. I'm grateful to be where we are here, and I'm grateful for everybody who's bothered to stop by to watch the stream and see what's going on. Anybody watching on YouTube, once again, I thank you as well for joining me. Having said that, I'm going to end the night as I customarily do by saying, be good to each other, be good to yourselves, stay good, and have a good night.